In this video, I'm gonna take you with me as I go on an 8-hour road trip to Montreal, where I will be visiting some local yarn stores and trying my very hardest not to buy too much yarn, which, spoiler alert, I do not succeed at that. Anyways, let's get into it. I am only going for 4 nights, so I definitely overpacked. Okay, it's time to go. Gonna get a coffee.
Hi, can I help you?
Hi, can I get a large iced vanilla latte made with oat milk?
Made with oat milk, yep.
Yes, please, and that's everything. Thank you. Obviously, I need a coffee if I'm gonna, be on the road for like 8 hours, so. We're about to go to the yarn store, but I'm not talking inside the store because I feel too awkward. I may have gone a little overboard at the first yarn store, which was Les Garcons. Let me show you what I got. I think I'm getting close to yarn store number 2. There it is. So this one's called La Maison Tricotee. To a third yarn store, and that is because I have like 30 minutes to kill, so I figured, why don't I go to another yarn store? Yeah, because all of these yarn stores are all in walking distance of each other, so I only have to walk like I think it was 25 minutes to this third one from the last one. like this. I went a little crazy in the yarn store today. Went to 3 of them. 2 bags full of yarn. Very pretty though. Look at, I don't know if you can see, but that's bag number 1. And bag number 2, I'm not even gonna bother trying to show you with whatever yarn I have inside these bags. I will do a yarn haul later, so keep watching. I am officially back home from Montreal, and I am going to show you all the yarn that I bought while I was there. So I bought 2 bags full of yarn. So yeah, I went a little overboard again, like I always do. And like, I knew I was gonna buy yarn while I was in Montreal because they have some really nice yarn stores there. So I did give myself permission to buy some yarn in Montreal, but I did buy a little more than I was hoping I would buy. I don't know. I get really carried away when I'm in a yarn store. When I start chatting to the people who work there, and you know, I just get in a really good mood, and then I look at all the pretty yarns and I'm like, oh my god, I just start picturing all the pretty things I could make with all the yarn that I see in the store. And then I buy more than I need. I think that I am going to try avoiding all yarn stores for maybe like the next 3 months. I have no need to go into a yarn store anytime soon. And clearly I am incapable of going into a yarn store without buying anything. Because I have gone to a yarn store recently with the intentions of not buying anything and just going for a knit social, like a social thing, like a knit club or whatever. And I still left with like 4 skeins of yarn. So I think I just can't step foot into a yarn store because the vibes are so good. And just talking to other people who are also obsessed, I feel like most of us in the knitting and crochet community tend to enable each other and just encourage each other to buy the yarn. And I'm just easily convinced. And if someone says that I should get it, then I'm like, okay, I'm gonna get it. Yeah, so no more yarn stores for me for at least the next 3 months, because I need to start using the yarn that I already have. And when I buy more yarn, I forget about the yarn I already have, even if it's still significantly new, but it's just not as new as the absolute newest yarn that I just bought, if that makes sense. But anyways, I am going to show you the yarn that I got in Montreal. So I went to 3 different yarn stores. I was originally planning on just going to 2, but then I had a little bit of extra time to kill, so then I decided to go to a 3rd yarn store, and I bought yarn at each store that I went to. So that's how I ended up with these 2 bags full of yarn. And I am going to start by showing you the yarn I got at Les Garcons. Says written here on the bag. I think Les Garcons was my favorite store out of the 3 that I went to. All the walls inside the store were painted black, which really allowed for the yarn to stand out. And honestly, I'm convinced that's why I spent the most amount of money at Les Garcons, because their interior design was just so good and it was just super pleasing to the eyes, and all the yarn looked so good. It really popped in that store. So I loved it in there, and the people were so nice. They were so nice. Anyways, let me show you the yarn that I got at Les Garcons. So first, let me show you some of their own yarn. So this is the yarn that they dye themselves, and it is these 2 colors right here. And this is mohair. I think it's kid silk mohair. It is 72% kid mohair and 28% silk. So this is what it looks like with the label. I really love these colors because, I don't know, I love bright colors, and I think these are super rich, vibrant colors for mohair. And yeah, I only bought 1 skein of each color, so I don't fully know what I'm gonna make with it yet. I was hoping that I could get away with making a super open knit sweater with just 1 cardigan, which I think would be doable because 1 skein is 459 yards, and if I were to use 12mm needles, it would be super open knit. I think I could get away with making a whole sweater. But I haven't fully decided yet because I don't even know if that would be enough. But if I run out of yarn, I could just go on their website and order a second skein. But I really want to avoid doing that because I have absolutely no need for more yarn. But in the case that I do run out of yarn when making a project with this, I'll order more. And then I got, oh, this yarn is so pretty. I think I got 4 skeins. 4 skeins of this yarn. And this yarn, I think they mentioned that this was a collaboration. So let me show you the label here. So it says Les Garcons on the label, and it's yeah, now that I'm looking at the label, I don't know who they collaborated with when making this yarn, but I guess Les Garcons was part of the process of putting this yarn together. And yeah, I think it is so pretty. Look at this color. I had to force myself not to pick a color that was super bright, like these colors. I was really wanting to pick a like fuchsia hot pink color of this yarn, of this fiber right here. But I already have a hot pink sweater, and I always tend to gravitate towards bright, vibrant yarns, but I really want more neutrals. Like, I prefer to wear neutral colors, but I just love colorful things, so I always grab colorful yarns. But sometimes I don't want to wear colorful things, so I need more neutrals. So that's why I grabbed this color, because this color, even though it's like, you know, it's like a neutral color, it's such a beautiful color. Like, I love this brown. I think that this would also go well with a lot of the clothing that I have. So I'm going to make a cardigan with this yarn. Honestly, most of the yarn that I bought while in Montreal was yarn that I'm going to use to make some cardigans and sweaters, but mostly cardigans. I really want more cardigans. So that is my mission for the next little while, is to just make some cardigans. And then the last 2 skeins that I bought at Les Garcons is these 2 skeins right here. I've bought this yarn before, not in this colorway, but I bought it in this colorway right here. So this yarn is 100% silk, and it is silk tweed, I believe. Yeah, La Bien-Aimée silk tweed. That's the back of the label. And I just love this color so much. I think it is so beautiful. I don't fully know what I'm going to make with it yet. I keep going back and forth between a few different project ideas, but I'm thinking of making a flowy tank top, either a halter top or tube top or tank top. But I want it to be flowy, like the top that I briefly showed earlier on in this video. I will include a clip of it right here so that you can see, but I want to make another top similar to this top that I already made, but with this yarn right here, because I think this color would be very pretty styled in that kind of top. Yeah, so that's the option that I'm leaning more towards. The other option I was thinking of making like a lacy long sleeve button up, but I don't know. I don't think I'm leaning more towards that because I'm making a lot of button up cardigans, so I need some more summer tops. Okay, up next, I am going to show you the yarn that I bought at, what was it called? La Maison Tricotee. And I bought a little less yarn at this store, but it was a really nice store. Honestly, all the stores that I went to, all 3 stores were beautiful. I went mostly all out at Les Garcons because it was the first store I went to, and I'm glad it was the first store that I went to because it was my favorite. They had some really cool yarn, and so I'm glad that I spent most of my money there, but all 3 stores were freaking amazing. And the yarn that I bought at La Maison Tricotee, is these 3 skeins right here, and then this 4th one. And I am going to make a cardigan with this yarn, all this yarn right here. So it'll be a mostly black cardigan with some gray hems. Well, how would you call that? No, not hems, but like a border, like the border along the lining. No, the border along the cardigan and along the cuffs. Yeah, pretty much just with some with some gray detailing. Also, I did not cake this yarn. I bought it in a skein, but then the girl at the store offered to cake it for me. And I was like, of course, please cake it for me. That would be so nice because it always takes me forever to wind my yarn because I do it by hand. I don't have a yarn swift. But since they're wound into cakes, they no longer have their label, but I have the labels here. I just have to remember which one's which. I think, oh yes. So this yarn right here, since it's black, it's a little tricky to see the texture of the yarn. Maybe if I hold it up like this, it is extremely, extremely soft. Like some of the softest yarn I think I've ever felt. It is so nice, and it's such a rich shade of black. Yeah, this is gorgeous. I think this is my first time working with black yarn, like fully black yarn, like no other colors mixed in. So I'm going to knit with it, which personally I think is a little easier than crocheting. Honestly, most of these projects that I'm going to do are going to be knit rather than crochet. Okay, and then this yarn right here, let me give you a bit of a close-up. This one's super pretty. It's a little bit, this is a different yarn than the black one, but it's got a similar feel to it. Oops, I'm just trying to show you what the strand looks like. This one's also very soft. Not as soft as this one, because this one is insanely soft. Oops, I think I forgot to show you the label for the black yarn. So the black yarn, this is the label for it. Right here. So it is, 100% royal alpaca. I actually didn't even look at the label before buying it. I just felt the yarn and I knew I had to get it. But makes sense. It is 100% alpaca because it is so soft. And then this yarn right here, the gray yarn, this is the label for it. So it's a different yarn than the black yarn. And this one is 70% ultrafine merino and 30% cashmere. So that's why it's still very soft, but it's a different texture. So I think it'll look good paired with the black yarn. This one is slightly thinner than the black yarn, so I hope it'll work well together. Both yarns are pretty similar in like size, but the black yarn has more fluff to it, so I'm thinking it'll work up a bit thicker than the gray yarn, but I think it's similar enough that it'll work if I use both of these together in a project. So this is all the yarn that I bought at La Maison Tricotee. And then the last store that I went to was called La Bobineuse. And I bought a decent amount of yarn at this store as well. Not as much as Les Garcons, but a little bit more than La Maison Tricotee. And this yarn store also offered to wind my yarn into cakes. And I obviously took them up on their offer. This is the yarn that I first picked out at La Bobineuse. So I decided on just getting this yarn, and while they were winding this yarn into cakes, I started looking around, and then while I was looking around, I came across more yarn, and I decided to get it as well, and it was this yarn right here. This yarn was already wound into cakes. They didn't do it for me. It wasn't originally in a skein, so oops. So yeah, lots of cakes, which will be easy for me to start new projects with. So first let me just show you the label. So this is the label, and I think, yeah, this is all the info on the back of the label. And then there's a little bit more info right here. So yeah, this is just straight up wool, and it feels really nice. I hope it doesn't feel itchy when I wear it. I think it'll be okay. So let me give you a close-up of the colors. So this is the green. I fell in love with this shade of green first. That's what made me decide to get this yarn. I just knew I had to find a project to make with this shade of green. And I was originally gonna get all 3 or 4 skeins of yarn in this shade of green. But then I realized a lot of my cardigans and sweaters are one color. So then I decided I would make this cardigan with more than one color and mix in a lighter shade of green right here, which is still really pretty. I'm not as obsessed with this shade of green as I am with this shade of green, but they're both really nice together. And then I also decided to mix in some pink as well. Just a really pretty light pink, which I think goes well with these greens. And that is all the yarn that I bought while in Montreal. Oh my gosh, I almost forgot to show you this yarn close up. Real quick. Ooh, I have a fluff up my nose. This yarn, I mean, it's a gray yarn. Like, the color itself isn't super like, whoa, that's so like crazy. But I've never bought a gray yarn before. But I do like wearing gray clothing. And I would especially love a gray cardigan. So when I came across this yarn, I knew that I had to get it in the color. So I got 2 cakes of the gray yarn and then, well, the light gray yarn, and then I got 1 cake of the dark gray yarn. And I'm gonna use all 3 cakes to make a gray cardigan. Let me show you the texture of this yarn. And this is what made me buy the yarn, because I think it is such a cool texture. Or I don't even know if I would say texture, but let me show you. I don't know if you can see super well, but it's almost like it's a single ply yarn, but it's not wound tightly. I don't know how to describe it. Can you see right there? I'm gonna show you this color right here. This nice dark gray, super cool fiber. It is, I didn't even check. Did I check? No, I don't think I did. Oh no, I did. I remember it says 100% len, which I think would be wool. But that is officially all the yarn that I bought in Montreal. A lot of nice yarns. I am super excited to start working with it, but I definitely want to finish the projects that I'm currently working on, because that's definitely what I should do. Because if I start any new projects right now, I know that that's going to make me feel more overwhelmed, because I start to feel very overwhelmed when I have multiple things on the go, which honestly is most of the time. But I am going to stick by what I said and finish the projects I'm currently working on. And then once I finish at least one of the projects I'm currently working on, I am going to allow myself to maybe start a project with some of this yarn. But whenever I do start a project with some of the yarn I got in Montreal, I think the yarn that I'm going to start using first is this yarn right here, because I think that a super open knit sweater knit with 12mm needles would work up decently fast, and I do love a project that works up quickly because it is super rewarding. That's all I have for this vlog slash exploring Montreal slash yarn haul. It's definitely been an eventful video. I hope you guys enjoyed watching it. If you guys enjoy watching these sort of vlog style videos and yarn haul videos, I have a few more on my channel if you want to go ahead and check those out. I will include it at the end of this video in case you guys feel like watching more videos like this one. But yeah, I'm going to go now, but hopefully I will see you in the next video. Bye!